One of the best ways to take your photography... One of the best ways to take your photography to the next level is by getting a portfolio review. What's a portfolio review? This is a portfolio review. Chris Downey is a photographer from Raleigh, North Carolina, and he got in contact with us with a portfolio of 15 images to put under the microscope for review from both inside and outside of wrestling. You can follow him online. Now we're going to be looking at these images and doing a deep dive on them and having a look at them for all of the elements such as cropping, composition, technical ability and storytelling, and offering some feedback on how you can take your images to the next level. This is the first time I've seen the images, so as they pop up, it's the first time for me, just like it's the first time for you. So hopefully the impact will have a massive effect and we'll be able to offer some positive, constructive feedback for Chris. We're going to start off with our first image here, a full-length portrait, sometimes tricky to do backstage when we're working with limited space. What I would say is just first off, just get to work on that floor there. See if we can just remove some of the tape on the floor, some of the creases on the floor, and just tidy that up immediately. But as a standard portrait, you know, this is fine. This is perfectly usable from the company standpoint in terms of match graphics and in terms of putting together show reels and things that could be used to promote the wrestler and the show at the next event. The highlight on the left hand side of the face just here is super bright. Looks like we're using a 4-light setup here, so we've got our key light above and our fill light underneath. I'm not sure they're working in balance because we've got a very bright highlight on the left hand side of the face here where one kicker's coming from one side, that's light number 3, and then you've got like a really soft light on this side here, that's kicker number 4 on that side. So 2 sort of rim lights working in unison there, but the one on the face there super bright and certainly a lot brighter than the one on the other side. We've got both of our key light and our fill light are on the left hand side of the face, and we can see that from the catch lights in the eyes just here. If we can work a way to get to using a stand that's got a slightly different fitting on it so that it can go overhead and over the top, or getting it nice and high above us, you may be working in low ceilings there, which is super difficult, but just try and balance those lights out. I think we're trying to use 4 lights here and trying to, obviously that's maybe eating into our space as well, and I think simplifying the approach to this can sometimes help, although match graphics guys do like the rim lighting either side, so it's easier for them to cut out for making those graphics. Posing as well starts from the feet up, and this is a very standard pose here, but if we get those feet a little bit wider, if we can start turning into camera, we can start doing different things. But I think first things first, get that key light right, get that exposure right on that key light, and make sure that that's as central as possible for these types of shots, because where it's coming around to the side, we've got no shadows coming in on the right hand side of the face here. Then your fill light underneath, if you need to use it, you put it under and you put it like 1 stop or 2 stops underexposed from the main light, so your main light is still giving you your main source of light, but then your fill light is just sort of bringing extra light back in, just uplighting underneath the face, and I don't think it's having much effect here due to these shadows in the image. If we have to put our main light on the left hand side as we see it here, then you can use the fill light on the other side if it's lower down and on the floor, so you're working with your main light on one side and then your fill light on the other side, so the fill light is banging into those shadows which are being caused by the main light coming in. Try and control those kicker lights either side if we can, either by just measuring up the exposures so that they're balanced, or by feathering them, by turning them slightly so they're facing towards the camera and just skimming the light and giving us a slight little bit of rim light either side there. And next one here, this is a great backstage shot of the Motor City Machine Guns. Really cool, loads of attitude in this one and in good control of the exposure on the flash in the foreground, which I appreciate. We've managed to get a little bit of flash as well, just to hit the walls on either side and a little bit in the background there. The highlights of that door in the background, just a little bit distracting. See if you can blob a little healing brush on those. I quite like the exit side above them there, sort of helps the narrative of that backstage, you know, backstage feel of these rugged portraits. I like the fact that they're nice and close together, and the thing I like most of all about this is the fact that they're looking straight into camera. The connection of these guys straight into the camera, loads of attitude there, really sharp, pin sharp in the lens, and yeah, a good backstage capture here. Really raw, rugged feel to this shot. This portrait here has an awful lot of mood to it, which I really appreciate. It feels like the light coming in is sort of like a golden yellow hue to it, which has helped, you know, elevate the mood of the shot. The light's quite low in camera here, so it's sort of coming up from underneath and has led to this split lighting along the face, which has really helped with the mystery there. And that gold tint has really helped shine off the side of the belt there, and it's really showcased the belt and where it's from and the branding of the company and all of those sorts of things. And I love the way that the tattooed arm is holding it there. That's really strong there as well. With regards to this, we're in the middle of the frame. There may be something else we can use here in terms of composition, in terms of placement with the frame, to use negative space to really enhance those shadows even more. And just to the left of the face here, there's a tiny bit of brickwork here that's as bright as the skin tones in the face, and unfortunately that's a little bit distracting. It'd be nice if the shadows of that face sort of blended and went into shadows into that brickwork on the left hand side, but a really moody portrait there. I like the feel of that one. Speedball, Mike Bailey did well to capture Speedball. He's a quick athlete there, and I love this moment in shot, and I love your placement as a photographer ringside, because what you've managed to do here is you managed to place yourself in a position in the ring where that light on the far side of the ring that we can't see but is creating rim light around the two athletes has been perfectly positioned behind them, so we haven't got flare, but what we have got is them separated out from the background, which makes them stand out. Revisit the color temperature on this one. Everything's a little bit yellow through there, could do a little bit of cooling down, but the timing on this shot is really well handled. I like this one. There's just enough movement in there in the shutter speed that you've used, so we can see movement in the hair, movement in the face, movement in the hand, and the expression that's coming through there really draws our eye. It looks like a high impact match, it looks like action, and it looks like something the promoter could use to advertise their brand and their product to fans to come and see the action, which is the idea there. If you can lose the camera guy on the far side of the ring in Photoshop using your clone and your healing brushes, or even your remove tool now with the new technology in Photoshop, then do so. But yeah, really lovely shot there with leading lines coming in and a good well-timed moment in the ring. Speaking of good well-timed moments in the ring, this is lovely. This has real feel to it, and what's helping the narrative of this one is obviously we've got the emotional aspect of the performer in the ring here, bent onto one knee, touching the logo of the company there with the screen in the background. But you can see the emotion of the fans in the background there, these sort of hands that are coming up to faces and the sort of aghast. That is lining up behind the athlete in the ring, and what that does is it helps tell the narrative. The lights either side are just on the crop there. They're balanced though, so we've got real air of symmetry on this one. We're right in the middle of the frame, so not only are we symmetrical coming from left to right, but we're also symmetrical coming from the top to the bottom. Have an experiment here with like a panoramic cropping straight through the middle there, and just really what that will do is it will mean that the fans are less small in the frame. On a principle of ratio, they'll be bigger in the frame, and it may help draw our eye and speak a little bit more clearly to the narrative. But good position on here, right central. I like the use of symmetry. It's a strong shot, this one. Moving into the world of association football, or soccer as they know it in certain parts of the world, and this is a difficult sport to capture because it's such a massive arena. You have to pick your position and where you're going to be. Most people stick themselves down either at one goal or another, because most people want to capture the action as it happens in the goal mouth, the goals, the celebrations, and all of the emotion that happens there. But we look like we're slightly elevated here, maybe on the halfway line, and the shots come in across from inside the box, and we've got, what's most appealing to me about this one is that there are 4 people in this photo, but we can only see one face, and it's actually the face of the goalkeeper there looking across at the ball, looking to make a save, which is the most appealing there. Slight distractions at the top here where maybe a slightly keener lower crop might have lent ourselves in, and when we're shooting these nighttime matches as well with the floodlights, we get these really elongated shadows which can help tell their own story. So if you are in the stands, it can sometimes be like appealing to try and get as close to pitch side as possible. Take a moment or two sometimes during the match just to go up high in the stands, and what you'll see is that you'll be able to see the shadows. Start looking at the light, start looking at the shadows, start looking at ways that you can play with it, ways that you can look at using longer exposures there to sort of emphasize movement and mood and getting different angles on things. That's what I would suggest to you with this one. But again, trying to get the shot in, it only happens for a fraction of a second, so good timing on that one to get the ball in midair as it sort of either, you know, heads towards the goalkeeper's outstretched hand or hopefully into the top corner for a goal. Really unique perspective on this ringside capture here, and with all of the streamers coming down from both front and back, we can only see part of the face, and I find that really, really appealing. So again, adding an air of mystery, less is more in this photo. You're giving the viewer like little bits of hooks, little bit of fishing line into the water, just enough for them to sort of grab onto and then make their own conclusions from it. The look is slightly off camera, which is quite nice as well. The tattoos framing the face nicely, but we've got foreground, midground and background here. The foreground of the fans silhouetted there on that short aperture, so they're slightly out of focus, leading us into the midground of the streamers, the ring ropes and the performer, and then the background there we've got fans facing us so we can see that it's a busy event. It's a real photographer shot, this one. It's a real different take on it. I admire you for doing something slightly different. Keep playing with it, keep doing this, and you'll get moments there where we're beautifully composed and where we can maybe get the wrestlers looking straight at the camera or looking at something else which is giving us context within there to really drive a strong narrative. Another football shot here, and we've got pitch side on this occasion with a wider lens than the previous one. A good capture, a kind of like a different composition here with sort of like one player down on the knee making a tackle, one player looking on from above. Good balance and good technical control of a very dark color of the strip in the background with this super bright white color of the strip in the foreground. Difficult to get those things married up, but we can still see detail in the shadows in the darkest strip, and we can still see detail in the highlights of the lighter strip. So that's really well handled. I like the addition of the clock in the background because you can see at what context the game is being photographed in. We're midway through the first half and the score's still 0-0, so that's good for context on there. Watch the floodlight on the far left hand side, see if you can just crop that out, and again, when you're going pitch side, don't be afraid to get as low as possible and try and get that different angle from everyone else who's shooting pitch side. This is wonderful. This is the sort of stuff that they're going to love. A really good shot here of the start of the football match, and we've chosen to take a wide angle, and we've chosen to take a different angle from all the other photographers in shot, which is the thing I really admire, the fact that all of the other photographers are there at the bottom of the shot, and we can see the angle they're getting, but you've chosen to do something different. And what that's allowed us to do is take a shot of the whole scene, and it's made the whole scene look like a big event. The fireworks going off up into the night sky, and it's really difficult to marry up the exposure for the fireworks along with the exposure for the floodlights on the pitch, and the fact that you've managed to marry those both up together so that everything's well exposed is really nice. Beautiful lines from the fireworks there, and what this does to the event organizer is it gives them the opportunity to promote the event as a thing that people want to go to. So this is one of the key photographs when you're photographing event photography, that experience photograph, that context photograph of a big event happening with big things happening that you need to be at next time. So yeah, really well captured there. Love the lineups of the teams in the foreground as well, the little band there on the left hand side, the flags either side. It's not only the technical ability to get fireworks shots right, but it's also the ability to get the timing right, and I think this has been really well handled here. So again, looking to do different things ringside, looking for different angles, and I really admire this. Going into the crowd, getting low, showcasing the arena, showcasing that ceiling there with all the patterns and the lines and the shadows and the color, trying to get the mobile phone in the foreground there to give context, to give it the context of a fan taking footage and being involved in the action. Because of the wide aperture, it's not quite in focus. It's a bit of a distraction there. It's not quite clear what it is on first view. But the timing of the jump in the ring, the timing of that action just coming off of that turnbuckle with the expression there, and especially the expression actually of the referee, which I really like. It has been really well handled. I would advise you to keep trying this, keep trying different angles, keep trying different things. And what you're clearly trying to do is you're trying to experiment and find your own unique style. And this is what's so key in photography, is looking for inspiration around people that you like, people whose work that you admire, but trying to find a way for you to do your own thing, to create your own style and create those unique moments that stand out. So this has been really well handled. Attention to detail, just mind the light on the left hand side, the little green light in the ring, maybe just have a look at amending those. But the overall colour palette's really pleasing, and I love this shot, it's really nice. Dax Harwood here from one of my favourite tag teams, FTR, just a proper grimy old school tag team, really like them, and he's a grimy old school guy with that grimy old school moustache. It looks like it's a single light off camera flash here with a little bit of ambient light working in there. Let's have a look at the eyes in here. I like the fact that there's a little blemish there just above the eyebrow, that gives it context. Just a single catch light there in this eye here on the right hand side as we look at it means the light's very high and over to the side here. Hasn't quite caught the eye on the left hand side. It's not quite split lighting, it's not quite dramatic enough for that, so maybe just a bit of care and a bit of attention to detail with the lighting in that one. But I like the pose. I possibly would have looked at even a tighter crop, because I'm not sure the crop going down through the bottom is the best choice there. To get really tight, the tighter you get in there, the closer you zoom, either by zooming in with the zoom lens or the closer you move in yourself physically, the more intense you're going to make these portraits feel. And because we're cropping off of all angles, we can work with that, and we can crop in at the top where the head is and really make the most of that grimy face there, looking straight out towards the lens with the fist in there, and the context of the context of the title belt as well could create a really sort of striking portrait. But good contrasty portrait here, good connection with the viewer straight down the middle of the lens. I think this shot's lovely, I really do. I think this is a lovely use of space, and it's a real example, and I keep saying it on this thing, simple things done well, and taking simple ideas and not overcomplicating them. The low angle allows us to draw our eye up into the frame. A really good clever use of rules of thirds here. So the bottom third of the picture is where all of the objects are, where the portrait subject is, and then it allows plenty of room to breathe above for the top 2/3 of the picture, with a really nice simple backdrop there of clouds and sky. Slight overexposure on the jacket just down in here. I would just look at just controlling that exposure just a little bit more keenly there, just to allow for a little bit more detail in there. And I quite like the hand placement in there. There's potentially something else that could maybe have been done there, especially as the hands are sort of coming across the logo there in the t-shirt. But I love the look off into the distance is really nice, and really good use of light on what looks like a really sunny day. So I think this is a lovely portrait, really well handled. What intensity here, goodness me. Looking straight down there. Straight down into the opponent there. Look at that expression, that's fantastic. It looks like we're working indoors. We're probably working with high ISOs and not the shutter speed that we'd want to shoot at, so the whole thing looks a little bit soft. But I do like, again, the idea that you've gone up this time and on a long lens, so we've again taken a different approach and a different angle to ringside photography. We're not just sticking ourselves in a corner and sticking a wide angle lens on and just hoping for the best, spraying and praying. We're actually moving around the arena and we're trying different things, and what this has allowed us to do is really get the intensity of the look there from the opponent on the far side of the ring, and a really good use of color harmony here with the ropes matching just the outfit there of the opponent in the ring. I think that's really nice and really well handled. But it's all about that expression, it's all about that storytelling, and that's something that, you know, really as a fan and as someone who maybe be looking to come to the product, you can really easily identify sort of aggression in the ring there, and something that's really happening, that's exciting, that you'd want to be at. Okay, a good attempt at something different here in terms of lighting here. Tag team picture, and we've got split lighting either side, so we've sort of married up the lighting either side, so we've got lights coming round to the side of the face and nothing front on, which has led to a really mysterious sort of approach there. It needs a tiny bit of control to be really refined, but I really admire the placement of the subjects in the frame. I like the faces, I like where they're placed, and I like the attitude there. When we do this sort of lighting, we are taking light away from the face, which in this instance I think is a bit of a shame, because they've got such keen face makeup there. It'd be nice to have a bit more light in the face to make the most of that. The brightest part of the image when we squint and look at it, we'll see here, is on the left hand side. This left arm and this left title belt especially reflecting the light on this side. And because our subject here in the foreground with the title belt and the arm on the right hand side here is further in front of the light, they're not getting the same reflection, so it's slightly imbalanced. So that area of highlight there on the left hand side just distracting a little bit, and it's not married up perfectly with the title belt on the right hand side. So just a slight adjustment to the light on the right hand side to bring it round a bit more would even up the light on the face firstly, so that the light on the face of the guy in the foreground would be the same as the light on the face in the guy in the background. But more importantly, it would give us light on that title belt, which would give us a really even balance. But I love the way they're merged in together. I love the symmetry of the shot. I love the attitude of the shot. Just a little bit of attention to detail with the lighting there. Now we're talking. Here we go. Double J. Now, I've seen this shot do the rounds, and I'm not sure how long ago you shot it, but I definitely remember seeing this one. I remember thinking, oh, that's a strong portrait. I've always wanted to take Jeff Jarrett's portrait. I've shot him in ring, and I've shot him candidly backstage, and I've never had the nerve to go up to him and say hello. Which is a shame, because apparently everyone says he's the loveliest guy, one of the loveliest guys in wrestling. So I don't know, maybe I just need to grow up. This is a really, really strong portrait. I love the use of the guitar as the prop, and you've used it again. I can tell that you're trying different things, and you've used it in a way that I've not seen before with Jeff. I've seen it sort of over the shoulder, I've seen him just holding it, but I've never seen it out to the camera on this angle. And this angle, this lovely 45-degree angle, just out of focus, well, quite a lot out of focus actually, which again is giving you as a viewer just that the few hooks just to pull you in, just to sort of work out on second glance what that is. Lovely use of light coming across it. You can just see the strings leading you into the hand. The hand then leads you up to the face, and the face has got real intensity looking straight down the middle of the lens. What intensity that is as well, looking down there. Again with this double split lighting, we've got a small area of dark there across the forehead and just underneath the eyes. I'd be looking to potentially trying to marry that up in a more conventional style by having a strong key light in a Rembrandt position, sort of 45 degrees round and above, and then having a fill light just behind me, just a stop underexposed, just to pump a little bit of light back in there. But we've got a very, very moody approach here, which is really nice. When we squint as well, I always squint just to sort of see where the brightest part of the image is. Well, the brightest part of the image is the hair. The hair light's been really, really well used, slightly overexposed, so we've lost a little bit of detail, but I can see why you would do that. It does add a bit of pronouncement to the shot, and it really separates it from the background. The top of the guitar there's quite white, quite bright. That's fine though, I don't mind that because it's leading our eye from that left hand side down. Just a little bit of light on the abdomen here, just where the jackets come away, is just a little bit bright and just a little bit distraction. If we'd have pulled the jacket across just a little bit more keenly, we'd have had a lovely, lovely hue of red there coming right behind the guitar and then leading us up into the face perfectly. But what lovely connection, what an opportunity there for you to shoot Jeff Jarrett, and you've knocked it out of the park. I think I hope he liked the shot. I hope he gave you positive feedback. I just think this is a really, really strong portrait. Well done to you. There we go. There's the images of Chris Downey, sports and pro wrestling photographer and graphic designer. You can follow him, CJ Downey, on Twitter and on his Instagram handles, and go and check out his website. What a wonderful, varied portfolio of images, lots of different things in there. Really enjoyed looking at that because, you know, Chris has obviously got it in him to do different things and to experiment and to try different things, and as long as you've got that as a photographer, you'll keep developing and your style will keep progressing. And that's the most important thing in photography, is to always be moving forward, always be trying different things, and always be a little bit further along the line this year than you were to last year. If you'd like a portfolio review, you can get one. You can email me, portraitofawrestler@gmail.com. Contact me on the socials if you wish. You can check out some videos. There'll be some videos popping up here. We've got ringside action, ringside tutorials, some lighting tutorials. So yeah, turn the head in there. 3, 2, and 1. How's that looking? Beautiful. Hold that there. With some thoughts on photography, and also a new series, Portrait of a Wrestler, where we ask your favourite wrestlers for their 3 favourite photos. And the triangle of the whole piece just lends itself to a really, really appealing shape within the image. So you can check those out up there. Thanks very much. Like and subscribe, stick a comment below, whatever, all those sorts of things. You know all that. All the very best.